good morning, and welcome back to Coaching Conversations. I'm Maria Savio, and today we're sharing from our soon to be released book, The Daily Path to Resilience Small Steps to an Unshakable You. It's a modern interpretation of ancient Stoic wisdom and principles. One quote, one interpretation, one takeaway that you can actually use today as a daily practice. And the more you return to it, the more it returns you to your center.
So let's begin with a quote that has certainly saved me massive amounts of time, energy, and anxiety. Here's the quote. It's crazy to ignore your own faults when you can change them, but trying to fix others' faults is a waste of energy. This is incredibly liberating, but also really challenging to practice when we see people that we love and care about constantly, making their own lives harder.
Right. It's difficult to watch somebody make, mistakes that you've already experienced. Maybe you made them yourself, and now you have the wisdom to help them, but they're not interested. But this is the foundation of Stoic peace and the central concept of duty or fulfilling your appropriate role. It ties directly to the dichotomy of control. Focus only on what you can change and influence and not what you can't control. Because trying to control or fix someone else's character, it really is futile. They have to do their own work. Your duty is to the one part of the world you can actually change and influence your mind, your own mind, and your character.
Yeah, and I think we all need that reminder, whether we're dealing with a chronic complainer at work, trying to manage the chaos of inheriting, someone else's disorganized project, or wrestling with the partner's controlling tendencies. The impulse is to try to fix them or fix the external situation.
Mm-hmm.
And we get stuck in a pattern of focusing on their faults instead of looking at our own contribution, our response, and our view of the issue, right? The baggage that we bring to any situation. And even our social media addiction and doom scrolling is, another way of looking outward at problems that you can't solve, unless, of course, you can be an active participant in creating a solution.
Right, exactly. All that energy spent trying to force someone else's growth when they're not asking for it. They don't want your advice. They don't want your input. It's a waste of effort and time and energy because we need to reserve that energy for moments that we can influence or control, where we have the greatest impact, especially the challenging internal battles that we all like to avoid.
Yes. And, as we're talking about this, there's the things that are in our control, in our sphere of influence, and the things that are not. And when we focus on the things where we don't have control or influence, then we're really doing a disservice to ourselves because we're spending our time, our mental energy in something that's really futile, right? Futile. Um, so spending time in the challenging internal battles that we all like to avoid, this is an area where we do have agency. And one thing that I have experienced personally and, have seen clients struggle with is obsessing with past regrets, right? So I once worked with a real estate investor who 5 years ago, they pulled out of buying a beachfront property because they got nervous. And, now they've seen that property is worth 10 times what it was. and they just keep coming back to replaying the event, replaying the decision, and, filling themselves up with agonizing regret and remorse. Yet, there's nothing that they can do today to change that situation in the past. I'm sure you've seen that too, Maria.
Yeah, no, definitely. And of course, I've done it myself. This is a common scenario. We revisit the past and we are full of regret, and we lament the decisions that we should have made and didn't make. And we look at some of our past decisions and regret having made those. But 2020 is hindsight. It's informative, but it doesn't change the past. In fact, replaying it over and over again, actually, it can become paralyzing, where you don't even want to take action for fear of, another huge mistake. But, when you're stuck trying to fix the fault of your past self, a self you literally can't reach or advise, you're wasting a lot of energy that you could be using for something that you can control and influence.
Yeah, and that paralyzing fear that some people get stuck in, it's such a shame and such a waste of precious resources, right? That ruminating doesn't serve us. And the Stoic sees this as a profound abandonment of duty. The past is the ultimate uncontrollable external. It's fixed. And the only thing within our control is the present moment and the quality of the decisions that we make now.
Right, because whether we like it or not, what happened didn't happen any other way, because it just didn't, and it can't be changed. So the duty here is to perform, or to mourn the lost prophet, or to let go of the past and to focus on your present role. You need to stop looking backwards and recognize the past self, your flaws from before, from the past. You maybe you didn't have all the information. Maybe there's a reason that you made that, mistake, or that, misjudged something. But that's inevitable. That is not something that we can do anything about. The past is informative, but we can't change that past. And we need to direct all of our mental energy towards our current responsibilities.
Yes. And, the application is to fully step into your role today. You accept the reality of the mistake with the knowledge and a growth mindset, recognizing that your duty, your responsibility is to learn from your past decisions, be wiser, and apply yourself fully to, whatever is in front of you. And that's how we escape our own vices and find peace, not by trying to change the past, but by owning the present.
So if we take this core concept of fulfilling your duty and focus only on your own growth, you can think of your life as a well-constructed wall. You're responsible for your own break, and only your break, even when you're faced with constant chaos and external pressure. When you look at the whole wall, the world, the economy, your difficult family members, it can be overwhelming. You see the cracks, the mistakes, the wobbles, everywhere. And, you try to grab your tiny trowel and try to fix everyone else's flawed brick.
Yeah. Such a huge waste of energy. Your only job And when we come to recognize it, that your only job is to ensure that your brick is perfectly level, solid, and aligned with justice and reason. You put all your energy into your own growth and responsibility. What is in your sphere of influence? And that means focusing intensely on your own mind and character, what you can actually control.
Right. It's not that you're not going to notice everything else and what other people are doing. The thing is that you're going to take action when you have control, when you have influence, when nobody's asking you to do anything because it's not within your lane. It's not something that they want you to handle. They want to handle it, or it's for them to handle or to overcome. So if you're struggling with work stress or a relationship issue, you stop trying to control the actions of those around you. You don't try to change your coworker's personality or your partner's flaws.
Yeah, you simply dedicate yourself to what is truly in your sphere of influence. You ensure your responses are rational, your efforts are complete, and your boundaries are clear. And trust that when you consistently fulfill your own duty and alignment with your inner self, you anchor the piece of the entire structure, right? And that's where real progress and peace begin.
Well, that's your thought for the week. Don't let it stay a quote. Let it challenge you, marinate on it. Let it shape you. Try it out in real life and see how it changes the way you think, the way you show up. And we'll be back next week with another reading from our soon-to-be released book, The Path to Resilience: Small Steps to an Unshakable You.